Hey guys! In this video we will take a closer look at Quantum from the ML collection. We will go through all of its features and build with it a patch from scratch, so let's start! Okay, so Quantum is a quantizer module, which means that it can take voltage and output it in intervals of musical notes. Also in VCV Rack, 1 volt equals 1 octave, which means that a 1/12 of a volt equals a semitone, and in practice it means that we can set a certain scale and the incoming voltage will be corrected to the notes of the scale. We will go first through all of the different sections of Quantum and then build a patch with it, so if you're more interested at the patch building process, feel free to skip this part. So we have the main input and output, and we also have 12 different keys that correspond to the keys of the piano, and we can activate or deactivate them, and by that choose the scale we want the voltage to be corrected to. So now we have 4 notes as our scale, and the incoming voltage will be corrected to those 4 notes. Now how it will be corrected or quantized and how the pitch will change depends on the mode we are in, and we can choose between the different modes in the right click menu. And the interesting part about Quantum is that first the voltage will be quantized chromatically, so it will fit to the 12 different semitones, and just then it will hit the different quantize modes. So again we have 5 different modes, and in the first one on the list, the so-called last mode, the pitch will stay the same until a new amount of voltage comes in that matches exactly one of the active notes, again after being chromatically quantized. This means that we will have less change in pitch because there are fewer chances that the voltage would match the notes we have selected. In up or down mode, the incoming voltage will be corrected upwards or downwards. So in this case, if the incoming voltage is hitting the note E and we're in up mode, the voltage will be corrected to the note G. And if we are in down mode, the voltage will be corrected to the note E flat. We also have closest up and closest down modes. In these modes, the voltage will be quantized to the closest available active note, unless it lands right in the middle of 2 active notes, and then it will be corrected upwards or downwards according to the mode we chose. So if, for example, in this case, the incoming voltage equals to F sharp, never mind if we chose closest upwards or closest downwards, it will be corrected to the note G, but if the incoming voltage equals to F, so right in the middle of G and E flat, it will be corrected according to which closest mode we chose, up or down. So those were the quantize modes, and let's move on to the right side of the module, where we have first the transpose input, which will transpose the scale. Also here, the incoming voltage will be first chromatically quantized. And there is something important to understand when it comes to the transpose input. By using this input we can transpose the scale but not the pitch. So the pitch range will stay the same, but the scale itself will be transposed upwards or downwards. Then we have 2 outputs, gate and trigger. The gate output will go high and stay high so long the incoming voltage is quantized to an active note, and out of the trigger output we will receive a trigger each time there is a change in pitch. Then we have the note and toggle inputs, which allows us to use external sources for activating and deactivating notes. And also here there is something important to know. Let's add first 2 12-key modules from Impromptu Modular. With these modules we can easily send pitch information and gates. Let's use the right one to toggle notes on and off first. So what we have to do is send the CV output to the note input. This will tell Quantum what notes or which notes will be toggled on and off. And the gate we will send to the toggle, and this will tell Quantum when to toggle notes on and off. So now we can use the keyboard here to toggle notes on and off. So if, let's say, I click note C, you can see it went off. I click it again, it went on, like this, and I can activate and deactivate all the notes of the scale. And what I wanted to show you, and this can get a bit tricky if we transpose the scale. So I will connect the CV output of the second 12 key to the transpose input. And now let's say we will transpose the scale to G. So now when I click here on this keyboard, the note G, it will toggle on quantum the note C. This is a bit tricky because this is now the first note of our scale. If let's say I transpose the scale to E, then now E will toggle the note C on quantum on and off. This is a bit confusing, but in the future there will be an option in the right click menu to turn this off. So never mind what, when you click the note C, it will toggle always the note C on and off. This will come in the future. And finally we have the reset input, so we can remove all the selected notes at once. And let's move on to building a patch with quantum and seeing it in action. Okay, so we will start by adding a sequencer, and for this I will use ions from the geodesics collection. Let's also change it to the dark side, of course, and change here the values. And start by adding some voices. So we will use two FM operators. I will just duplicate this one. And let's use also Basel from volt. And we will use one of them, and let's take the octave down already once. And for Basel we will use also slap, also from volt. This will be our envelope generator and our VCA. And let's have some space here a bit. Let's use also stack, also from Bog Audio, so we can raise the pitch of the second FM operator by 7 semitones. This will go to the volt per octave input of the second FM operator. And now let's add the quantum. Let's see if we have enough space here. Quantum, very nice. And let's set a scale. C, E flat, F, G, and B flat, for example. And if you look in the right click menu, since the last update, the default mode now is closest up. Before it was the so-called last mode. So now we can just leave it like this. Again, the voltage will be quantized always to the closest note, unless it comes in the middle of two active notes, and then it will quantize upwards. So now we have quantum, and let's send the blue sequence from ions to quantum, and let's add also a mult, because I will want to use a few of those. Mult also from Bog Audio. So let's send the CV coming out of quantum to the mult, and from there to the volt per octave inputs of all three oscillators. So here it will go through stack again to the second oscillator, and here to Basel. And let's send the same voltage also to the feedback amount of both FM operators. This mult is really interesting because this section here, though, it's actually two different mults, but the lower mult is normaled or normalized to the first mult, which means that the voltage coming in here will go automatically also through the lower outputs, unless there is something connected to the second mult, which is really practical, so we can have 6 different outputs of the same signal. And let's modulate also Basel, the modulation of Basel here. Let's use just the lower section, for example, now. And let's use also the gate output from quantum to a gate to trigger the FM operators and slap. So let's add another mult. Here you are. Send the gate output to the mult, from there to the gate input of the FM operators and to the gate input of slap. And let's activate also the level envelope of the FM operators. Let's lower the sustain all the way down so we get something nice and snappy also in slap. And now let's run just the blue sequence with a multiplied clock, every clock multiplied by 2. We will connect this to the local input, to the local clock of the blue sequence, and set it up to run only from the local input, from the local clock. Okay, let's run also the sequence. Very nice, and let's see how this sounds like. So we have the first FM operator. Take the attack maybe a bit down. Let's take Basel. This is a really nice sequence. Let's take Basel to slap, to the VCA section of slap, from there to the mixer, and open the attenuator of the modulation here a bit. Yes. Very nice. So the voltage coming out of ions is being quantized and corrected to the notes we entered in quantum. And now what we can do is modulate quantum. So let's have some more space here. And let's add another quantum so we can toggle notes on and off of the quantum we are using for the pitch. And let's use also the sample and hold section of kinks, utilities from audible instruments in this case. And what we will do is send random voltage from the sample and hold unit to one quantum to the first one, and from there we will send the corrected or quantized voltage to modulate the second quantum. So let's trigger kinks with our main clock. And let's send this random voltage to the first quantum, and from there to the note input of the second quantum. So this will tell this quantum here which notes will be toggled on and off, and because we have here those 5 notes, so the notes will be selected are only from this scale here. And let's use also the trigger output of quantum to tell the second quantum when to toggle them on and off. And now you can see we have still somewhat the same sequence, but it's changing because we have always different notes being toggled on and off from the first quantum to the second one. So we have even more variation in pitch. And always those 5 notes will be toggled on and off because this is what we set up here in the first quantum. So now let's make it a bit more tidy. And let's add another voice. And let's use for this the palm loop oscillator from 21 kilohertz. And let's add also another quantum. Very nice. By this time, let's choose a different quantize mode. So we will choose the so-called last mode. So we will have fewer changes in pitch. And this is what I want for this. This will be our bass sound. And let's use the yellow sequence for this. So we will take the yellow sequence to quantum, and let's drive the yellow sequence with the divided clock. So again, to the local clock input, we have here a clock divided by 4. And let's choose that it will run just from the local clock. So you'd see it's running. And let's send it through quantum to the volt per octave input of the FM, of the palm loop oscillator, sorry. And let's use also tangents as our filter, also volt. And send a sawtooth wave through tangents to the mixer. Let's just lower the octave once here, close the cutoff a bit, raise the resonance so we have nice bassy sound. Let's send this to the mixer. And let's send also a sine wave directly to the mixer. This sine wave will be 1 octave lower than the sawtooth wave. This palm loop oscillator is really nice for fat basses. Yes. And let's solo just for a second, just the bass, and we can hear how the notes are changing. Here we have a change in notes, here not. Here we have a change, here we have a change, here not, here we have, oh that's nice, here another one. But you can see there are less or fewer changes in notes because of the quantize mode we've selected, the last mode, which means again that just when the voltage coming out of here, first it's being quantized chromatically, and after that, when it hits one of the notes exactly that we have entered here, only then it will change the note, it will change the pitch, so fewer changes in pitch. So now we have a nice sequence going on with the bass also. Very nice. Now let's also modulate the cutoff point of tangents with an LFO. I will add the LFO from Bog Audio. Let's change it to slow mode, make it really slow. Let's turn the offset all the way up so we have a unipolar. I will show you this also on the scope for a second. Let's turn the offset, reset the offset. So this is the sine wave you get. LFO, low frequency oscillator. It goes, in this case, from -5 to +5 volts. I want it also to only to go from 0 upwards, so I push the offset all the way up. And now we have 0 to 10 volts. I can also lower the scale a bit so we don't get... So it doesn't go to 10 volts, it can go to 5 volts, 0 to 5 volts. And let's send this sine wave to the cutoff point of the oscillator. Let's turn it a bit down, the frequency down so it's slower. And now it will modulate the cutoff point. Very nice. Now I've just saved the patch. We are not done yet, but just that you know, there will be a link in the description to this patch if you want to download it and take a closer look at it. I'm trying to use only free available modules, so everyone can open the patch and have a look. So now let's see, let's add another voice, and let's add another voice actually that we will play live. So for this, let's use another FM operator, and let's add another quantum. Very nice. And what we will do, let's use another kinks, so another utilities, and let's trigger it with a faster clock. So I have here a clock multiplied by 4. And now let's take this signal coming out of kinks and run it first through the full rectifier here up. Kinks is a really nice module. I will put also a link in the description to a video I made about it. Also in this series of the small modules. Here up we have an inverter and rectifier. What it will do, we have an inverter, half rectify and full rectify. What the full rectifier will do, it will take the negative voltage and it will mirror them upwards, so we have just positive voltage. So let's run the signal through the input of the rectifier. And let's add also a VCA so we can control the range of this voltage and take it out of the full rectifier to the VCA. Let's close the VCA a bit so we don't get too many high notes, or the high notes will not go too high. From there to quantum, and from quantum to the volt per octave input of the oscillator. And let's use also the gate input to trigger the FM operator, activate the level envelope. Let's take the sustain all the way down, the attack a bit down so we get something nice and snappy. And let's send the same voltage to the feedback amount also. Oh, and here what we forgot to do, sorry for a second, what we forgot to do with the first two FM operators, as soon as you connect something to the feedback amount CV input, the feedback knobs become attenuators, so we have to open them so we get some modulation going on, and we will do this also with this FM operator. So now what will happen is the sample and hold will send random voltage to quantum from the VCA through the VCA, but until we don't enter any notes, nothing will happen because the voltage will not go through because we don't have any active notes. So let's first connect the FM operator, send it to our mixer. You see there is no signal going through. Let's say I activate the node C now. So now there will be something happening. Now let's use again the 12 key from Impromptu Modular. And actually I'm using the 12 key and it's okay for now, but you can also use a MIDI controller, for example. You can use your keyboard to play this live and not using the mouse. So let's see, let's connect the CV output to the note input of Quantum. Again, this will tell Quantum which notes to toggle on and off, and the gate output to the toggle input, and this will tell Quantum when to toggle them on and off. And now we can play this live. Let's take all the other voices out for a second. So again, now we get nothing. And now let's activate the node C, and because it's sample and hold and it will go through a wider range than normal, although we have here the range a bit attenuated, still we will get octaves of the same note. So if now I turn the note C, very nice. So now let's activate also the note E. And G and B flat, and we get a sort of an arpeggiator. And live, again, you can use also your MIDI keyboard or whatever you want, also the computer keyboard. And now I can deactivate the note C, so we will not get this note. Also E, now we'll get just G and B flat. Let's take maybe the range a bit up. Yes. Let's activate the note F. And let's bring back all the other voices and let's play this live a bit, have fun. And again, I mean, I could just click the notes here, but I just wanted to show you that you can control this with an external source and play this live. That's why I use the 12 key. Very nice. Now, what else we can do? We can also send, we can also send this oscillator through another quantum. So we can also use quantum for audio rate signals and quantize the audio rate signal. And this will result in a sort of a sample rate reduction sound, something really gritty. So let's do this. Let's add another quantum. And let's send the FM operator first through quantum. And now again, nothing will happen because we don't have any notes. And as many notes as we put, now it doesn't matter which notes we choose, but as many notes we put, as the signal will be smoother and with less grit. I will save again the file. And let's enter just one. Never mind again, let's activate this note here. Oh yeah! And as we add more notes, it will be smoother. It will have like an effect of a filter. Let's see this also on the scope actually. So we can see how it looks like. We take it one time, this will be our signal before quantum, and one time after quantum. And let's take the notes a bit out. And you can see how this looks like. You can see it looks really like stepwise because it's been quantized to steps. And the more notes we enter, the more steps we have, the smoother the signal. So let's leave it like this for a second. This sounds nice. Okay, now let's transpose everything. Let me just zoom out a bit. And now let's use the transpose function, so let's add another 12 key. Very nice, and send it to the transpose inputs. The CV output is the transpose inputs of all quantums. This one doesn't matter because the nodes doesn't matter here, it's just for an effect. But all the quantums we have on the screen we should use. We have all, yeah. So now let's transpose the sequence to G. And again, it will not transpose the pitch, it will only transpose the scale. So we have the same range, but different scale. Now to F. And of course you can use a different sequencer for this, or you can also play it live, you can also control the transpose with your keyboard. And also this quantum you can play live and make the voice more gritty or less gritty. Let me save this again. And that's it guys, that was Quantum. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment or write me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe and hit the bell. And have a good one.